This has been our most expensive lesson. Hello you guys, and welcome back to a new video. I feel like I've not filmed a sit down video in so long. This feels a little bit foreign, but I've just missed these videos of just sitting down and chatting. And as I'm filming this, I cannot believe we're almost at 1 year of Giselle and I being homeowners. If you're just stumbling upon this video, I live in Southern California and my girlfriend and I bought our first home about a year ago. And I feel like I have learned so much. It has been just as chaotic of a journey as everyone says it is. Like, so many things you hear about owning a house are true, but I feel like I have 13 things in particular that stand out that are either practical tips, whether or not you're seriously considering wanting to buy a house. Some of these might actually, enforce your decision not to. But a lot of these are just encouraging and just some words of wisdom later in the video that I feel like are life lessons that have carried beyond just the house itself. If you're new here, I would love if you wanted to subscribe. I also post vlogs, travel content, hosting content, and overall I just wish I would have maybe seen a few more videos like this back like when I was in the process myself. So starting with number one, which was the biggest shock to me as someone who I pride myself on being financially savvy. So I thought, I wish I had a better understanding of how much a loan is going to cost you by the time you're done paying off that loan. I was clueless. Now I see what the huge deal is of why everyone's talking about how interest rates have gone up. It was not until we were heavily into the process of buying this house when somehow I realized that this loan by the end of it was gonna cost us almost twice as much as the actual cost of the loan. And we have a 5.875 interest rate. I know rates now are so much higher. We're able to lower it a tiny bit by opening a checking account with the bank that the loan is through and setting our mortgage on auto pay. So ask your lender, there may be options available to lower things slightly. Not that it makes that big of a difference because I'm still in disbelief. And what sucks too is that for the first however many years that you're paying off your loan, your payments towards the principal are just minuscule. So you're not actually building much equity in the house until so much farther down the line. I don't know, this all just went over my head. I just thought I would share it. I think a useful tool that I was not informed about until after buying a house was running what is called a buy versus rent cost analysis. There are calculators all over Google if you just type that in, where you can enter all the details of the house you're looking at buying, the interest rate, everything like that, what you're putting down, and it will tell you basically how many years need to go by for buying to be the more affordable option over just renting month to month. I feel like for a lot of them, you have to look way down the line because real estate is such a good investment in the long run, which we're okay with. Owning a home has been a goal of mine for so many years, thinking in terms of the long run. But to wrap up number one, I feel like if you're not actively going through the home buying process, you might be unaware of how much a loan actually costs in the end. Number two is a much more positive one. Obviously, everyone's home buying experience is different. So much depends on where you live and how the market is there. But I feel like what I was hearing at the time when we bought our house, and still what I continue to hear, is just how much everyone is having to overpay for houses, which is because of, the lack of supply of homes that are for sale. But I was losing hope, you guys. I was thinking, I'm thinking I'm never gonna get a house because people are always gonna be outbidding us in cash, and I'm gonna have to pay so much over what the house is worth just because other people are willing to pay it. I don't want to shed too much hope here, but I will say that was not our experience at all. We actually got our house for under what it was listed for. I mean, that is because at the end of the day, it was overvalued for the neighborhood for what it is by so much, really. And so I feel like knowing your market is huge, but we did buy a house that was flipped. So obviously someone's trying to make a lot of money on it. They way overlisted it for what it was worth. So we actually offered below, which seemed crazy because, I was so set on this house. I toured this and I cried. We were I've never thought we would see a house that we could potentially even try to own that is truly a dream house, checks off everything we want and beyond. And so it was a risk, offering below asking. They countered, we met them in the middle, and we went under contract and we got the house. There were no other offers. Literally, again, we had the most atypical experience, I feel like.
Yeah, so...
Yay! I was nervous.
Congratulations, guys.
But as we went on, so the house was appraised, and it appraised for even less than what we were under contract on. So, you take that back to the bank's not financing a loan for more than what the house is worth. So what do? They gotta lower the price. Maybe they don't always have to do that, I don't know. It worked out for us. They lowered the price to what the house was truly valued at. We came out getting the house for close to $150,000 below what it was listed for. With that, I just wanna give some encouragement of kind of a positive home buying experience where you're not having to overpay. And I think obviously, again, it depends depends so much on the area. You know, if you're striking out somewhere, maybe you gotta look farther away, which is what we did. So number 3, when you are getting your loan and you're contemplating what you can afford, and you know, your loan officer, who is obviously here to make money off of you taking a loan from their bank, is telling you, yeah, you know, this is the interest rate, but it's expected to go down. Like, you know, this might be your payment now. I know this is a lot, but like, it's gonna go down. Like, the speculation, don't listen to the speculation. When we were going through this, we talked to so many different potential lenders, and everyone was telling us the same thing of like, rates are expected to go down. You can just refinance here in however long, like, you know, you're not gonna be paying this forever. And I still hope that that is the case. But for this point, I just want to say, don't bite off more than you can chew under the pretense of believing someone's speculation whose like job it is to try to get you to take this loan, you know? And I'm just so glad that we did not get into a situation that was like really tight financially or anything. So just don't buy counting on it becoming more affordable later. Stay within your means for the present. Number 4, this is a sneaky one. Pay attention to the things at the open house that the listing agent may be doing to subtly manipulate your experience. And what kind of made me think of this was that when we came in here on open house day, we're like, man, this house has perfect lighting in every room. Like, this is a creator's dream. It's just so bright and sunny. Then after we are under contract, we're coming in for the inspection and everything. We shut the front door and we're like, whoa, is it a cloudy day? And we look outside, no, the sun's out. Oh no, it's just like a dungeon in the kitchen and like the hallway and whatever, because they had, you wouldn't think such a small thing can make such a big difference, but having the front door wide open for this open house was allowing light to like spread through kind of the center of the home that otherwise does not get any light. And so for a while when we moved in, I was like, okay, this kitchen is depressing. Like, it's so dark in here. Now I don't care. Like, maybe someday I would love to get some skylights, and it is what it is. But it was just such a stark contrast from the open house. So it's obviously the realtor's job to make the sale. And I'm not saying like something as small as leaving the front door open was like any kind of malicious trick or like, you know, anything like that. This is a small example, but obviously any house you're touring, they are trying to present it in like the best selling light as possible, figuratively. So just like keep your eyes peeled. Number 5, this has been our most expensive lesson, and where this is going to be practical for you comes into play with when you are doing your house inspection. Ours was done, we got like a little email with all these things. It's a bajillion page document, so it's a lot to go through, and we're reading through all of it, but we're mostly paying attention to like the things in red. This wasn't working, things that need to be fixed. We weren't so much paying attention to the age of like the pipes in the house. That's not true. We were aware like, okay, this HVAC unit should probably not be working anymore. It's pretty old. Like, we were paying attention to old things in the home, despite it being a flip and like just being redone and looking beautiful. Like, a lot of really expensive things that you don't see in the house were old. And so we needed to be prepared to replace those. I had no idea, you guys, just how quickly we might need to do some replacing, and for like something so much bigger than I could have ever imagined. And that has to do with the age of the pipes in our house. Like, it meant nothing to me when written on there. It wasn't a con. It was just like, here's the age of the pipes. So to make a long story very short, some of you already know, we had to redo all of the plumbing in our house. Fortunately, we were able to get that done when we were traveling to Switzerland. So everybody was just here ripping our floors apart for the price tag. I feel like you guys need to know, so this really sticks with you and means something to you when you see some old pipes on your inspection. $35,000 to replace that. With that, I just wish I had known this could actually be a problem, and it could be a problem soon. Number 6, building off of that one, is that when it comes to these big house projects that you're inevitably gonna have to do, whether they're planned maintenance or they're unexpected surprises like that one, look into financing. I feel like I only think about loans when it comes to like things like buying a house, buying a car, and we were able to actually finance through Wells Fargo that big loan for the plumbing at 0% interest for 18 months. Obviously 18 months is not a super long time. Once beyond the 18 months, the interest rate is crazy, like 28% or something. So bad news, stay away. But we actually decided to finance it for those 18 months, and I pay the minimum monthly, and then at the end I'm gonna pay the sum that is left. But in doing that, I'm able to hold on to that cash longer, which I just feel like is more comfortable in general. But also I have all of that invested in my high yield savings account, and I'm actually able to earn a couple $1,000s off of that amount by the time that it's due in the end. So obviously that's like an ounce of that whole amount and that whole loan, but that is something. Just when it comes to any kind of house projects in the future, even if it's something that we can't afford, we do have the money to pay off like immediately, I'm now always going to be looking into financing to see what is available at 0% so that I can continue earning a little bit on my cash longer. Number 7 has to do with location and affordability, and something I had not thought about and didn't happen until we were moving. So like I said, to find something a bit more affordable, we moved a little bit farther out from where we were living previously. And it wasn't until we were moving, I'm changing my DMV address or my car registration or whatever. Not only did my car registration fees annually go down, but my car insurance went down by like 50%. Cities are crazier, it makes total sense. But when it comes to where you're looking at moving, whether it's farther away from a main city or whether you're moving into a main city, like in that case, some unrelated costs are probably going to go up. But that was something that was nice. I'm like, okay, well, as my mortgage is like higher than my rent, at least now my car payment is lower. So yeah, not like too big of a takeaway with this one, but that was just a nice little surprise to think about when looking at different areas. Number 8, yard work is a lot. I've always been a renter prior to living here, so I was not expecting the jungle that is the grass around your yard. I don't even have grass. Like we have turf, and like still the weeds, the leaves, just the plants overgrow, like everything. Obviously, it is a major luxury to be able to own a house in today's day and age. So this isn't a complaint. It's just something to think about, is like, as life goes on, we're not getting more time. So I was already pretty busy to start with, and now I'm like, where is the time coming from to then be out in my yard every weekend for hours? Like, don't get me started on fountains that have been the bane of my existence. We have 2. One is this like little Roman statue lady that I used to hate. She's grown on me. I'm a big fan of her, but that pump broke. It's like, stones changing color. I don't know what to do about it. We then have this like fountain pond that is hideous. They added that when they flipped it. I don't know why. That has not functioned properly like from the whole time we've lived here, so we don't even use it. So now that's a toxic swamp. I guess my point here is just that I did not expect the true maintenance that comes with a house. Not even in the crazy stuff, but just in like the week-to-week yard and house maintenance. Number 9 similarly has to do with some more hidden costs. Just like, I feel like when you're moving into a house, I feel like there's so much you have to buy, like not even furniture or whatever, just like other tools and, a pressure washer and a leaf blower, power tool, just so many things that you're used to, again, like your landlord coming in and fixing, that now like you are the fixer or you have to hire someone. But a lot of stuff is just like little things you can do, but that like you now have to buy the tools, pest extermination, we do that ourselves, or propane for the grill. Like if you're used to your apartment just having amenities, I feel like there's just so many little things here and there that when we moved in, we spent so much of just like little things that we needed for house maintenance. Number 10, this one has to do more with saving, and that is that you don't have to have your house done for like years if you don't want to. Like I, in my head, had this picture of like, even when I toured it, like, oh, I want this here. This is what I want here. I want to turn this, doorway into an arch, and I want to redo the kitchen to be these cabinets, and I want this banquette instead of my perfectly good dining table. I think it's really easy to always like be dreaming big, and like, especially if you're a visual creative person, like see the end vision of every space and all the furniture you want and all of that. I think it's totally normal and natural. You see all these people on social media with these like perfect homes. With that comes just like, obviously, again, so much more spending. And so I had to kind of talk myself down from just like buying all these things that like, yes, I want, but like, do I need them? Like this dining room makeover can wait for however many years because I have other goals and I'm still trying to prioritize financially in the present besides just having this house. It's just been a good way for me to mentally slow down on just thinking I need to buy. Yeah, also just with this, like I've had to get better at picking and choosing my spending priorities. Like we don't travel as much, or just in the past when my costs were so much lower, it was easier to do a lot more than I feel like I justify now. So yeah, I guess just what I wish I knew is that I don't have to rush it with those things. Number 11, this one is dear to my heart. I did not know what a huge difference your neighbors could have on where you're living. I grew up in North Carolina. I have such fond memories of being a kid and playing with our neighbors and, everyone being friends with everyone. And it was a true community. And I feel like college was that way because it's college. But ever since then, I have not had that with my neighbors like at all. In LA, I don't know about you guys. Yeah, I'd know maybe 1 or 2 of my neighbors. Maybe I would be friends with one. Maybe I would have 3 or 4 that we were on a waving basis with, and beyond that, it's like people don't take the time to get to know each other. There's no sense of like permanency where you live, I feel like, which maybe contributes to it. Since moving here to a house in the suburbs where the majority of neighbors have lived here for years and years or even decades, like we were just granted this community like overnight, it feels like. I know, again, this is not everyone's experience, but we have just been so lucky with our neighbors, not only who were like welcoming and who are nice to us, like pretty much everyone is that way, but we have so so many families that we have become like true friends with, that we hang out with. Like we're all over the place in terms of age. It's just, I think, a very wholesome thing that just like brought me so much joy that I didn't know I was missing, or that just I didn't expect. Just following this, I feel like anywhere we ever looked at moving in the future, we would, upon touring, if we were serious about it, we would be going door to door, meeting the neighbors. I would have never felt comfortable doing before, just like going door to door. But now following this experience, I feel like I would 100% do that, because I'm trying to suss out the neighbors, because we just hit the jackpot here. Number 12, short and sweet, just a practical one. If you're buying, I wish we had gotten a list from the seller of all the paint colors, all the materials, like the exact floor type and brand and like everything, so that if anything were to break, you know, we would easily know exactly what we needed to get to fix it. Which we've asked a couple things throughout time, but like, you know, we didn't have the best vibe going with the seller, so I'm not the most comfortable just like continuing to go back and ask those things since a lot of time has passed. But I think if you're just buying a house, oh my gosh, just ask all the questions, get all the lists, know all the materials, where they bought everything. And lastly, number 13, this one has to do with perspective and is a little words of wisdom-y. First part is that buying a house has been truly one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. Owning a house was a goal I was actively working towards every single week for so many years, setting aside money every single week. So it has been so fulfilling and humbling, and again, is just such a source of joy and gratitude in my life. But at the same time, I really thought like, I'm gonna buy a house and I'm gonna feel like I made it. Like I'm gonna feel, you know, my life goal is achieved and like I'm just sitting back relaxing, you know, I have no more wants in the world, right? Like that's what it kind of felt like to me, because it was my top goal for so long. Like with anything in life, you achieve one thing and then you're on to the next. Not that I'm like out here like, oh, I want that house, like I need bigger, like not pertaining to a house, but it's just like I'm now on to like this big dream wedding I want, or like, you know, it just, the list goes on and on. It doesn't feel like I've made it and everything I've accomplished everything I wanted in life. Your wants just change. I think it's a good reminder that no one thing is going to be this infinite source of joy for you. Like, so I just think it's something to think about. I'm still so grateful to have been able to buy this house with Giselle. I fully recognize the huge privilege it is, especially where we live, like to be able to afford that. So yeah, I just want to end this on a positive note. If you're watching this video, I hope you got something out of it. That was my goal in this, just as I'm reflecting, but also just thank you for watching and supporting me on this channel, on other platforms. I said it back then, but I'll say it again, like this would have never been possible without you guys. So yeah, that is it for this video. I cannot believe how fast a year has gone by. That is a little alarming, but that is it. If you guys would like me to do more sit down videos, let me know what you want to see, and I'll see all of you guys in my next video.